Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Duncan, your host and creator of the TXK State of Mind podcast. Tonight, we have another special guest that's going to join us on the stage. She's the executive director of the Main Street Texarkana. Her name is Ms. Ina McDowell. She's going to be on hand to talk to us about all the things that are going on downtown and specific to Main Street and everything that's going on with the revitalization of our great community. So tonight, we welcome Ms. Ina McDowell to the stage. Ms. McDowell, welcome to the stage.
Hi, thank you. Thank you. So glad to be here.
Yes, I'm glad to have you here. So I want to give you an opportunity to just come on and just talk about everything that's going on with Main Street Texarkana, some events that you have coming up, some mainstays that you've been doing over the years, and just to enlighten all of our listeners about what's going on within our downtown space. So before we get started, I want to give you a chance just to talk about who you are, your background, how you got started into Main Street USA and Main Street Texarkana.
Well, I, of course, grew up in Texarkana and so have lived here most of my life other than having time going to college. But when I came back to Texarkana to come back home, I had a couple of jobs and then got into our Texarkana museum system in downtown Texarkana. So that's really my start, the beginning of my love of our history, our community's history. I did marketing and special events. Some people remember many years ago the Quadrangle Festival.
Yes.
And I coordinated that for about 13 years and just all the marketing for our museum system. And at that time, of course, it was the Asa Clubs House, which we still have, the Museum of Regional History, which is actually the oldest brick building in Texarkana. And then during that time, we also had the Children's Museum. And some of that has changed, of course, over the years. As of recent, we have the Asa Clubs House, the Ahern House, and then the Museum of Regional History that are now part of the museum system. But that's where I guess you would say I got bitten by that bug of preservation and loving our history. And then got into some development, fundraising, worked for the hospitals, was in healthcare for a little while. Eventually got back downtown, and I actually served on the board for Main Street Texarkana when the program got started. It is a nonprofit organization. It's a national program. And of course, since Texarkana is two states, I manage Main Street Texas and Main Street Arkansas. I work with both of those programs for our local Main Street Texarkana. And I've been doing that about 13 years as well. So, but it was a great start for me, just starting out as a volunteer in downtown. And even at that time, there were more stores. Growing up here, I had great memory of shopping at the shoe stores for my ballet shoots. You know, I took dance. And so a lot of that, yes, has gone away, but fortunately we still have a lot of those buildings, and they're just such a wonderful part of our community's history. And it's wonderful how people are embracing these buildings and wanting to preserve and continue to tell the story of how we got where we are today. And, you know, I think that there's a lot of activity going on North Texarkana, around the interstate. And so maybe people think that's moving a lot faster. Might be, but I think the excitement is in our downtown. It's what makes us unique. It's like no other. And so, you know, the chain restaurants and places, they're great. But when you come downtown, you're going to find something different that's unique to our local community and no place else.
That's right. I really love it. When you talked about the Quadrangle Fight, that was one of my favorite events. So I used to love that as a kid. So yeah, that was one of the things we experienced. Coming downtown for the parade during the fall when the fair was held in the fall. So I remember all those different events that we would experience. So when you think about just the Main Street program and the revitalization of Texarkana, you talked about how some of the stores that we grew up and we experienced back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s are no longer there. So what's the vision that Main Street has to be able to bring back that or recreate that experience that we experienced as kids growing up in Texarkana?
Well, of course, we can't make Texarkana exactly what it used to be.
Right.
That's not possible, but we don't want that. We want a freshness for the generations of today while we are preserving our history. And the mission of Main Street Texarkana is promotion and economic development through historic preservation. That is key, is preserving these buildings because that's what tells our community's story. And right now you're seeing a lot of people that are coming to the table and saying, I love downtown. I want a historic building. I want to open my own store. I want to live downtown. And they're investing in our downtown. And that is so exciting. And that's what we've got to have. It's not just me, it's our community that is coming together and embracing our downtown. And that's really the only way it can happen. And people have got to support it, though. You know, you've got to come down and support the shops and the restaurants and the coffee shops and attend these great events like you're mentioning that have we remember in the past, but there's so many great events that are happening now down on Front Street Festival Plaza area. And the Perot is celebrating its 100th anniversary, and they have so many wonderful shows there, and they're doing upgrading so that they can get even better shows in the Perot Theater. So it's a wonderful time. And again, though, it is all in the spirit of our community.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Jay Leno coming in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know, we have that wonderful car museum downtown.
Yes.
And they're putting on a huge show. And last I heard, we're trying to figure out how we're going to get all the cars in downtown Texarkana. There's so many people that want to participate. It's just going to be fabulous. I was in a meeting earlier today, and we were talking about all these big names, and someone said, if we can get Jay Leno here, we can get anybody here.
Exactly. Jay Leno. I watched him. I used to stay up and watch him on Tonight shows.
Oh my gosh, yes. And he is such an old car fanatic, and of course he has a huge collection himself. So and you know, another thing that I think is helping grow our downtown is just the arts part of our downtown. And we have a community of people, a committee that I'm on, along with our museum system and the Arts Center, the City of Texarkana, Texas, City of Texarkana, Arkansas, and we all come together, the symphony, and we're working to make sure that we keep our arts in Texarkana thriving and strong, and being able to put on these shows like at the Perot. I'm sure you're familiar with our Arkansas Municipal Auditorium.
Yes.
That's connected to City Hall. That is a fabulous, wonderful building. Oh my gosh. And of course, Elvis played there, and Johnny Cash, and it has a wonderful history. And that's another place that they're working to preserve and make it something that we can use on a regular basis. Right now, we're trying to get air conditioning. You know, that's something you got to have. Major expense. But, and then the other thing is public art, and hopefully people are seeing a lot of new public art in our downtown. That is something we've really never had before. Of course, we had Otis Williams here not long ago, and put up a new mural, and of course, Corinne Griffith that's on the side of the TLC building, burger shop, and there's just a multitude of public art that's being brought in our downtown to go along with the attractions that we already have, as well as what I think are the absolute best restaurants in town. You know?
Verona is wonderful.
Yes. And so all those coming together, along with the 1894 Art Gallery and Joseph Raymond Art Gallery, and I recently did a program with producers from New York, and it was called The Story of Art in America. And
Oh,
that was one of the most rewarding experiences that I had. We worked with producers that came in from New York, and they selected 4 of our local artists to go into their studios and interview them and learn about why they chose art, what art means to them. And my point being, it just shows the fabulous talent to have someone like that to come to Texarkana. And they were actually featuring artists all over the state of Texas, and included cities like Amarillo and Dallas, and there we were with our local
right.
artists being featured. And so we have some wonderful talent, and it's exciting when we're able to show off that talent.
Yeah, I think we have such a unique perspective of art with all the murals and like the different museums, art museums and galleries that you talked about. My daughter's actually, that's what she's majoring. My youngest daughter, that's what she's majoring in art. And
Okay.
so I remember telling you earlier that she finished up her high school career at Texas High, so she was able to participate in that the student jury art competition
Oh,
that was
yes.
during her senior
That
year.
is
So
so good.
that was a good experience for her, so she can see where she stands and get involved and see what she would be experiencing when she actually puts on her own show. We're putting her work out there, so she's going to be at Commerce and takes in Commerce, and so we're looking forward to how that developed. But that was a good opportunity for her to be exposed to getting her art getting judged, and getting viewed by different people. She actually was able to sell 2 pieces of her work
Oh, that's
during that time.
wonderful.
And so I'm in
Yeah.
line with you about how the art scene plays in our overall aspect of what downtown could be, because that's like a key feature. That and with everything that's going on at the Silver Moon with the Children's Theater, with the different plays
Yes.
that are putting on, I think that ties into the newness, like you talked about, of what the downtown area can be. That new experience, that new image of what we can be. I think that's a key piece of that. So when you think about everything that's going on, the new experience, the new life that's coming into downtown, what's the different thing? What kind of a business that may be in the other side of town, that may be on Pleasant Grove or off of New Boston Road, that may want to say, I want to be a part of that downtown experience? How would they go about connecting with you to maybe be involved in getting their business there and being able to preserve a spot in one of those buildings that are currently being revitalized?
Well, I absolutely could help them. Main Street Texarkana provides a lot of different incentives, from grants to low interest loans. We also provide renderings free of charge. So if somebody
Okay.
is looking at a building that they really like and they don't quite get that vision, or they think they know what they want, we have state architects that can talk with them and provide free renderings to give them that visual that
Wow.
they would need to help them move forward. There's a lot of different avenues that we can do to help. We also have a web, excuse me, I can't even think of the word right now. Web, our it's called Downtown TX. Okay, and
Website,
it
yeah.
lists. Thank you. I don't know where that word went. It lists all the properties within the Main Street district that are available for sale or lease. And so you can go to this and just type in, as I said, downtowntx.org. And it's actually, you can see all over the state. And that's a starting point to just look and see what is available. And again, there are a variety of incentives that we can provide. In Arkansas, we actually have grant funds, and
Okay.
that's a wonderful resource. It's provided through Main Street Arkansas. And so we do grants every year. In fact, we just finished giving out $25,000 in grants to downtown businesses to help them with maybe they need to be have part of their building painted, or new windows put in, a new awning, signage, all those kinds of things. And one property that is going to, I've been watching it virtually daily, is going to be the first person to actually build its infield, where a building no longer was located, and he's going to be living there. He's actually building
I've
his
seen
home.
that. Yeah, I
It is
saw that.
amazing. And actually, Main Street, Arkansas architect did the design for him for that building free of
That's gonna
charge.
be nice. That's gonna. I saw the little columns that he put out. I saw they're
And those
black.
are original.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay. That's gonna
Yes.
be nice. I'm looking forward to
And
seeing that. I hope I get the tour.
oh, yes. And listen, just set a time because he is usually very happy to show it off.
It's nice. I was looking at that because I saw when they gutted it out and it was just the red clay and then they started building it up and then I saw the glass front. I was like, yeah, I gotta check that out.
Yes, and we want more people living in our downtown. Hotel Grimm is about to
Right,
open just any day, and that is one of the most beautiful buildings in our
right.
downtown. Just seeing it at night and all the lights on the inside, and that's one of those projects that I'm so proud of because you, I'm sure, can remember from years ago that it didn't look so great, and
Yeah,
it
it
and
was,
it was not too just didn't look too good in our downtown, and now it's amazing. It's a beautiful place, along with the post office.
right.
If you've been around our post office, and of course that's our big tourist attraction,
It is.
standing in two states, and they say it's the most photographed courthouse post office in the country, and that's been completely redone. So that's our really what I call our entrance into downtown. It's our front door, and I'm so glad that now it looks beautiful and
It
inviting,
does.
and then people continue on down State Line and can see all the wonderful stores and buildings. And again, the Hotel Grimm that's right there, that's going to be providing some wonderful living space. And there's just a lot of places like that. And anyone that's interested in a building, I would be happy to work with them. And again, they can start by just going to that website, um, and looking at the properties that are available right now. There's just so much opportunity. And, it's kind of like at one point, everybody said you need a coffee shop. No coffee shops. And now I think we have four,
Yeah, yeah, we got a lot of we
but
got a lot of
everybody's yes,
listen.
they're all different, in a one of them, it's called Bookhound Haven, and
Mhm,
she has a tremendous number of groups that meet there,
right,
and to they book clubs, and she just expanded. There's such a demand. She's doing great. Of course, the Staying Page is such a neat
right,
place. So all these different coffee shops, it's like, well, how many do we need? Well, we need them all because they're all
right,
different, and it's fun places to hang out. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the restaurants
right.
are just like no other. And but of course, it is very important to come out and support these places. And um, there's a couple of boutiques that we have, and of course, Hearts on Broad
Yes,
is a great place. It used to be a drugstore, Hearts Drug, and it has a wonderful history about it. And there are a couple other places, Moonstone and Moss. It's one of my favorite, and so you got to come down and see, because if you haven't been down, even in 6 months, you'd be
yeah,
surprised at the changes that have already been made.
yeah. I can attest to the Italian sodas over at Stain Page, so they're really good.
Oh, yes.
Homemade,
And
yeah,
oh my gosh. And their daughter, I think she's the creator behind all their special drinks over
right.
there. So I don't know if chemistry is her background or what, but she does a great job.
Yeah, another group of wonderful people I got a chance to meet and talk to. And of
Oh,
course,
they are.
with Will, he was telling me, Will Harris of MEPs, he was telling me
Yeah.
about the history of that building and how it got started and about the sidewalk and everything. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really unique place. And there's a lot of, the chains are great, but when you can have a mom and pop that can come in and put out a quality product that rivals any chain, Verona, it rivals. We were just at Maggiano's in San Antonio for our anniversary. Verona's rivals any of that Italian food that you're going to get at places like that. And we experienced the
Absolutely.
brunch from my wife had the duck risotto. Is they rival. You can get that here, and so I'm really excited about all the things that are coming into downtown because we don't have to drive a whole lot if we have those things here. And that, like you talked about economic development, instead of our dollars going to Dallas or Little Rock, those dollars can flow through downtown and throughout the city and help our community grow and thrive again. One of the things that I thought unique was when we talked about earlier. We were living in Conway and lived there for several years, and I got a chance. I always keep up with the news that's going on here back home. I grew up here. I always want to see Texarkana, West Arkansas, or Texas thrive. And when I heard about we had passed the rule that we're going to have an entertainment district in the
Yes.
downtown area. And I think the biggest life, because you got some pause, but the biggest life that's within that district is Broad Street. So what's the the plan for Broad Street? Because I see so many things that are unique. You have the bars, you have all the different things that are popping up. And it seems like Broad Street is like that vein that's all the life is just pumping through that. So what has been the plan to kind of just get Broad Street back to the point where it was, not with the same type of businesses, but to bring that life back? That's always been the main.
Yes, you're right. And basically coming from the post office, you go down
Mhm.
State Line and you hit Broad Street and you run right into it. And one of the things that has just recently occurred that we're so fortunate is having what's called the canopy lighting that
Yes.
goes across Broad Street. Right now, it's only on the Arkansas side. But the Texas side is working on that, and I'm thrilled because it's going to continue so that it will be on West and East Broad of
Right.
downtown. And yes, that's where most of our businesses are, in restaurants, and it looks good. And more lighting that we have, it just creates that whole atmosphere for
Mhm.
entertainment and excitement and safety. And,
Right.
people don't want to go in a place that feels kind of dark and dingy and
Working.
they can't really see and they're not sure. And so the more lighting that we have, the better. And Wholesale Electric came in. We were actually having a board meeting one day at Johnny B's, and the owner came in and said, "What do y'all need? What can I do to help downtown?" And he's another person that's been in our downtown, in our community for many years. And
Right.
anyway, he said, "We need lights." And he has an electric company. And so we're continuing on, but it takes people like that. And he was working with Mike Rogers and Dots Reynolds that everybody's heard of and's been here forever and invested in our community. And they all came together and got those lights crossing the street. And now they're working their way on to the other side. And my hope is that they'll be done by Christmas. This
Right.
is the 40th year for the Christmas parade, and it's going to be fabulous. I'm so excited, and it'll be even better if we've got those string lights coming all the way down Broad Street. It's just
Yeah.
going to be beautiful.
That's a
Um,
beautiful drive. I love driving down and you're looking above, you see those lights, especially at night. It's like everything is like it's like shining. You can put that song on. What is that on Broadway?
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and that
beautiful.
yes,
Last week, I was in McKinney, Texas, with our city planner for the city of Texarkana, Texas. We had a full day there, and it's amazing what they've done in McKinney. And that's one of the things that they've done is have those string lights up all over all the streets in their downtown. And they look so good and just give a great vibe to the downtown that's not there normally. So that will be a wonderful thing for Broad Street to continue that lighting. And as you've mentioned, I'm working with some new businesses that are coming in our downtown area. You're going to see more development on the Texas side.
okay,
So as people, it's almost like, it is a kind of a domino effect where you've got one person that invests and it looks cool and neat, and that inspires other people. And so that's what we're seeing. And it just seems to have really taken off. And I feel like with the tremendous investment in the courthouse and that entrance into our downtown, and then next there's the Hotel Grimm, and of course the wonderful little restaurant that's right there across from the courthouse, the
the
Rabbit
rabbit
Hole.
hole.
I mean, it just, yes, I mean, that is such a favorite place, and they're the nicest people there that own it. And you just continue on down to Broad Street. And um, another major project that we've been working on and is the library.
Yes.
And our library is a critical part of our community. We have one library that serves
Hmm.
both cities. And that is something that we're seeing a lot in downtowns. It's more of a community gathering place.
Right.
And Olivia is their new director, and she said, we're more than just books. And
Mm-hmm.
they do lots of workshops. And so they're doing a lot of new things in the library that I'm really looking forward to, and that I think people will be very proud of and want to
Right.
come and see. The Jameson building that's right across from that, we've been working a lot with the family. And of course, that's the first African-American professional
Right.
office building. And I can tell you, we're getting all kinds of attention, state and nationally,
Right.
with that building, because it's so beautiful and it's basically intact. I mean, it looks original. The second floor would just
Yeah.
amaze.
Yeah.
Oh
I've
my
been there.
goodness.
I've been up there. The tour, you can still see some of the old names of the dentists and things of that nature up there.
Yes.
It's nice.
Yes. It almost gives you chills, because you really feel like you're stepping back into that time. And the goal is to preserve all that, but give it new life so that people can enjoy it today. And we learn about it. It stays a part of our history.
Right.
And then, of course, the train station. A lot of
Yes.
people wondering what's going on with the train station. And that's another very important part of our community's history. And I know the cities are coming together to try to make that something that we can be proud of. It's a beautiful
Right.
building.
It is.
Main Street has done some design work to give ideas of, the back part maybe could be a restaurant, so they'd have windows and you can look out on the trains and see the
Right.
trains going by. The front part maybe be an event space, also for small businesses, and it's a huge building. So there's lots of great ideas. So I feel very good about how our cities are coming together right now, just to make our downtown really the best it can be, and something that we as a part of the community can be proud of. And that's
Right.
what we need. We've got to be proud of what we have. And, they say, I think you mentioned earlier, it is the heart of our community. And, if our downtown doesn't look good, it says a lot about us as a community.
Right.
But it takes all of us, voicing our opinion, and just letting people know we love our downtown. We want to preserve it. And so I think the people that have been talking, people are listening, and things are definitely happening.
Yeah, because I know I noticed like on both sides, and I kind of talked with Chris last week with Texas and Arkansas. I saw an ad where they're looking to recruit people that are remote workers to come move to Texarkana and to see all the uniqueness that's offered here. And that's one of the things. I graduated in '95, so my class we have a Facebook page. So I send them. I say, hey, here's an opportunity to come back home if you're a remote
Yeah.
worker. And because it's unique, because like even when you talked about the library, this is my office where I work out of every day, except for when I'm going to Louisiana on Fridays. But a lot of times, sometimes I'll go down to the library and I'll plug in and I'll just work out of there if I'm just doing my paperwork or something. I don't have any clients to talk to. So I'll just go in and find one of those little desks that's there and plug in and just do my work and just experience. Look at all, I'm a people watcher. So I look, see all the people that's coming in. So it's a really bustling place. You coming
Yes.
in, and from the books to I have connected where if I need to find a movie, I can log into my Roku and I can get a movie from the
Yeah.
from the library and watch it on my
Yeah.
streaming process. So the library in itself, that's one of the gems downtown. I love the brick outside of the courthouse with the grass now. It gives us a nice touch. And then of course for the people who have electric vehicles, there's some space for you to charge up there.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited with all the things that are going on. Again, I talked about I will come home and see stuff like with the Better Block. I came off of that when you guys were doing activated
Down on
alleys.
the line. Oh,
Yeah,
yes, an activated alley. That's another project that's going, and there'll be lights going across those. They're already on the Arkansas end in the
right.
activated alley. And you know that what's cool is that alley connects both of our city halls. It runs
Yes.
behind both city halls. So, yes, that's another piece that's in the works. It's going to be
Yes.
really neat when all of this comes together, and it really is coming together piece by piece.
So it's really great. I love all the things. So I'm really excited to see everything that's how it's going to transpire. I know hearing from my classmate that said keep up the interviews, the podcast, because they like to know what's going on. Because to be truthful, if they're the housing and if they, I know the jobs are coming in, if they would have the opportunity, I think they would really look into coming back home and being able to contribute what um, they've learned in college and started their careers and bring that back home. So there's a lot of people I try to connect with what's going on downtown within the city, so they can see that Texarkana is our home and like you should consider coming back. Um,
I
as
have
you
this
look,
conversation nearly every day with my kids. Come back
yeah,
home.
yeah,
We've got two farmers markets, I mean,
I know.
we've got so
I'm trying
much.
to get them on now. I'm trying to get the Gateway and Texarkana on now to talk to them in
Oh,
our
good.
food
Yeah.
event, to try to do a little feature on them. But I think the more things you do through Main Street and the different activities we can expose it, I think a lot of people are starting to see that there's a lot of things. Like I talked about earlier, a lot of people are not in tune to like when you post stuff on Facebook. I love the little video you had recently about the bike shop and how it got started and how he came to this area and the history behind that building. So I watched that. And I shared it on my page because that's something I didn't know about him or how he came about to be having a bike shop there. So
Yeah,
those,
Terry is great.
mhm. So just being able to expose our citizens to what's going on, I think that's going to be unique. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not gonna. I'll tell people all the time. I'm not gonna do negative stuff. I want to try to highlight what's all the things that are being done that's going to allow us to grow. And I think the work that you're doing, the work that they're doing over at Communities Unlimited, different programs, the GRIM, the revitalization of that, of course, with the Texarkana, with all the work that he's doing, trying to get that back brought to life,
Yes, the
exposing
old
the,
Texarkana
yeah,
National Bank building. Yes,
yeah,
David Peavy is very invested in our downtown.
yeah, he's doing a lot of great work. So, and of course, everyone. So I want people to know that there's things going on. And one thing I wanted to ask you before we end is like, with all the things that are going on, how does the lay citizen or the lay person, if they're community minded, volunteer minded, how do they go about getting involved if they want to help with some of the things that are going on and be involved in some of the things that you're doing?
So they, of course, first of all, please help support the places that we have and the business that we have, because they can't survive if we as a
Mm-hmm.
community aren't supporting them. But we have various projects throughout the year. One of the things that it may not sound like fun to a lot of people, but the planters, I don't know if you've
Right.
noticed the large white planters.
The big ones, yeah.
Main Street, yes, we raise the funds for those. That's something that we maintain along with volunteers. City Beautiful, both cities help us with watering of those, but helping just maintain with those. I think for some people, sometimes just getting out in the yard and pulling weeds is great therapy. So you can always help us with that. We've got some events that are coming up. We're working on Oktoberfest. It's going to be
Okay.
October the 5th. And that's going to be hosted this year by Cafe Lucille, which is another fabulous new restaurant in our downtown. So events like that. The Christmas parade that I mentioned earlier, we're working on that. So we would love for people that could come out and help us with events like that. Just watching our website, watching what's going on, and you'll see a lot of things, and you might just see something in particular that you want to help with. And a lot of the organizations, as I've talked about, like track and the
Mm-hmm.
museums and the library, they're always looking for volunteers.
Right.
And so oftentimes you can call them and they'll have something to help with a kids event or a new exhibit. And there's just so many opportunities like that to get involved in our downtown. And we welcome that. And I did want to mention that we do the Texarkana City Guide,
Okay.
and that just came out yesterday. And so we are busy getting that in the tourist centers and the hotels and restaurants. And so if you get an opportunity, pick up an edition of the new Texarkana City Guide, because it's got some great things and it can tell you right there all the wonderful things that are happening in Texarkana.
Okay, great. You mentioned Cafe Lucille before we go. My daughter actually works there, so she was sending me all
Oh,
the pictures of the Bridgerton event they had. So that was a big hit.
yes. Yes, and they're gonna do great with Oktoberfest that's coming up. Yeah, Jason is actually on my board, and I didn't even
Okay.
mention my board, but I have a wonderful group of volunteers that are my board of directors. Dr. Brian Matthews is my
Yes.
president. He and I were actually walking the streets this afternoon together, visiting these buildings and our businesses and letting people know what we do. And a big part of what we do is promotion. And so we're kind of like a family down there, and we're there for each other. So we just again couldn't do it without a lot of people pulling together and just caring about Texarkana and our downtown.
Right. You definitely are the passion and the heart of Texarkana. So that's why I wanted to get you on. Like I said, I see you in passing a lot if I come down from Texarkana Live or an event. You're always busy. You're moving and shaking. So it was great to sit down and have a conversation with you. I really appreciate your time. I hope that I can get a chance to volunteer and do some things with you guys now that I'm back home. I'm looking forward to that. So
Thank you.
yes, ma'am. I appreciate you. I thank you for everything that you're doing to highlight Texarkana and all the wonderful things that we have going on, specifically in our downtown area. And I want to have you on so people can know all the great things that you're doing and your board is doing. And of course, all the other merchants and things that are coming downtown that we're doing a stellar job with highlighting Texarkana. Again, I'd like to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you. And for all the audience, we're going to do another show next week. I got a special guest. I'm not going to say now, but I want to try to, again, highlight what's going on in Texarkana. Coming up, we're also going to have our 4th episode of our Food is Love TXK. I'll be going out. I've been talking with some other restaurants in downtown around the city so we can highlight their business. Like Ms. McDowell said, they need our support to grow and to thrive and be able to bring you that quality service and food that we all enjoy. So I want to try to help them get connected with our followers. So stay tuned. Our podcast media is we're trying to highlight and help what you guys are doing to bring Texarkana back to the forefront. So again, I thank you, Ms. McDowell. I appreciate your time. As always, what's your TXK state of mind? Thank you.